Devotional for March 23, Reflection on My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. You can find the link to the daily devotionals at utmost.org. The text for today is from 1 Corinthians 3, verses 1 through 4. The key text will be verse 3. Brothers and sisters, I could not address you as people who live by the Spirit, but as people who are still worldly, mere infants in Christ. I gave you milk, not solid food, for you were not ready for it. Indeed, you are still not ready. You are still worldly. For since there is jealousy and quarreling among you, are you not worldly? Are you not acting like mere humans? For when one says, I follow Paul, and another, I follow Apollos, are you not mere human beings? And the devotional is titled, Am I Carnally Minded? Where there are envy, strife, and divisions among you, are you not carnal? From verse 3. The natural man or unbeliever knows nothing about carnality. The desires of the flesh warring against the spirit, and the spirit warring against the flesh, which began at rebirth, are what produce carnality, and the awareness of it. But Paul said, Walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Galatians 5, verse 16. In other words, carnality will disappear. Are you quarrelsome and easily upset over small things? Do you think that no one who is a Christian is ever like that? Paul said they are, and he connected these attitudes with carnality. Is there a truth in the Bible that instantly awakens a spirit of malice or resentment in you? If so, that is proof that you are still carnal. If the process of sanctification is continuing in your life, there will be no trace of that kind of spirit remaining. If the Spirit of God detects anything in you that is wrong, He doesn't ask you to make it right. He only asks you to accept the light of truth, and then He will make it right. A child of the light will confess sin instantly and stand completely open before God, but a child of the darkness will say, Oh, I can explain that. When the light shines and the Spirit brings conviction of sin, be a child of the light. Confess your wrongdoing and God will deal with it. If, however, you try to vindicate yourself, you prove yourself to be a child of the darkness. What is the proof that carnality is gone? Never deceive yourself. When carnality is gone, you will know it. It is the most real thing you can imagine, and God will see to it that you have a number of opportunities to prove to yourself the miracle of His grace. The proof is a very practical test. You will find yourself saying, if this had happened before, I would have had the spirit of resentment. And you will never cease to be the most amazed person on earth at what God has done for you on the inside. So a few things here, and I again find this especially pertinent for us at this time. One, it says that we're only aware of carnality because of the Spirit operating in us. So it begins at rebirth. That is the process where the Spirit of God in us begins to show us what no longer belongs. And this is not an easy task. It describes it as warring at war, and I find that accurate. We often talk about that, the war of not only the warring of good and evil, but the warring of our spirit with our flesh. And what it says here is that you will find yourself easily hooked or easily angered. And especially lately, and I'll identify for myself that with the added stressors that are taking place in the world around us, and knowing that everyone else has those added stressors as well, some of these things are rising to the surface. And I have found myself easily hooked. There are certainly things where I still need to work on them. But the devotional says that it's not simply for us to I'm sorry, let me find it. If the Spirit of God detects anything in you that is wrong, He doesn't ask you to make it right. He only asks you to accept the light of truth, and then He will make it right. And I think that's where I've been stumbling, and maybe you have as well, that when we find ourselves wanting to defend our way, defend our thoughts, then it's a sign that we're still holding on to our sense of selves. But if we are quick to recognize that we have done something wrong, we accept that truth, and we ask God to make it right by just simply accepting His light, then that's where the sanctification continues.